Have you ever stopped to wonder how a country actually gets richer? It's not some kind of magic trick. There's actually a plan, a sort of economic blueprint. And today, you're going to unpack that exact blueprint to figure out what really powers a nation's wealth. Okay, let's get into it. I mean, it all boils down to this one huge question. Is it just about people buying more stuff? Is it about building more factories? Or is there something else going on? Well, the truth is, it's a mix of all of these things, working together in both the short term and, crucially, the long term. So let's get on the same page with a quick definition. When you hear economists talk about growth, what they really mean is a steady, ongoing rise in what a country produces, its total output. And the go-to measurement for this is the change in its gross domestic product, or GDP. At its core, it's just asking, is the country making more stuff this year than it did last year? But here's the thing, economic growth is almost never a simple, straight line going up. I mean, just take a look at this chart of Malaysia's GDP. It shows you the reality. You have good years and you have really tough years. Check out that massive dip around 2020 and then the huge rebound right after. It's a total roller coaster, a really dynamic and sometimes volatile ride. Okay, so to get a handle on all those ups and downs, we have to first look at the short-term engine of the economy. A good way to think about it is like the daily hustle of a big city, all the immediate things happening that keep the lights on and keep everything moving forward. And believe it or not, that whole engine runs on a surprisingly straightforward formula. A country's GDP is basically just these four things added together: consumption, investment, government spending, and net exports. Think of them as the four cylinders that power the economy day in and day out. Let's break each one down. First up, we've got C for consumption. And this is pretty much all of us, the power of the people. When we feel good about our jobs, when our paychecks are getting bigger, we naturally spend more. And things like widespread wage growth or even government assistance can give this part a massive boost. All right, next is I for investment. And we're not just talking about the stock market here. This is about building for tomorrow. When companies, both local and foreign, see that people are confident and spending money, they're way more likely to invest in things like new factories or better technology. The investment in Malaysia's electronics sector, a perfect example of how this helps a country produce way more. Then there's G for government spending. You could think of this as the public push. So when a government spends on huge projects like new highways or better digital infrastructure, it's not just creating jobs right now, it's also laying down the groundwork that makes it easier and more attractive for companies to do that I part, the private investment, down the road. And the last piece of our short-term engine is net exports. This is simply a country's trade balance with the rest of the world. The math is easy. It's everything you sell to other countries, your exports, minus everything you buy from them, your imports. So here's the bottom line. When a country sells more to the world than it buys, its national income goes up. For a nation like Malaysia, which exports a ton of commodities like palm oil and petroleum, this is a huge, huge driver of its economy. Okay, so that's the day-to-day engine. But what about growing strong for decades? What separates the flash-in-the-pan economies from the ones that last? Well, let's zoom out and look at the foundational pillars that support an economy for the long haul. For an economy to grow steadily year after year, it really comes down to three core ingredients. You need more tools and machines, what economists call physical capital. You need more people to do the work, that's labor force growth. And this one's critical, you need better workers, and that's all about human capital. Now, the first two are pretty straightforward, right? If you build more physical capital, things like industrial parks and factories, and you have a growing workforce to run them, you're obviously going to increase the total amount your economy can possibly produce. It's a simple equation, really. More tools plus more workers equals more potential stuff. But this third pillar, human capital, this one's a real game changer. It's not just about headcount. It's about having a workforce that's skilled, educated, and healthy. Things like investing in universities or technical training are classic examples of building up this human capital, which makes every single worker more productive. It's all about working smarter, not just harder. And that leads us perfectly into the final and honestly the most exciting part of this whole blueprint. This is the secret sauce. This is the smart upgrade that basically turbocharges everything else we've talked about: productivity and innovation. And check this out. This quote from some research on Malaysia's economy just hits the nail on the head. It shows that it's not just about having more ideas or more patents. It's about the quality of that innovation. Are you actually developing stuff that makes a real difference? This all comes down to the power of how. It's about getting better at what you do through things like automation or new technologies. Economists measure this with something called total factor productivity, or TFP. And this is where that human capital we talked about really shines. You need smart, skilled people to come up with the innovations that drive TFP. TFP is that magic ingredient. It's how good you are at squeezing more value out of the same number of workers and machines. So let's put it all together. The blueprint isn't just a list of separate parts. It's a whole interconnected system. You got the short-term fuel from spending and trade, keeping the engine running every day. You got the long-term foundations of more machines and more workers, building a bigger, stronger engine over time. But it's that supercharger of smart, high-quality innovation, powered by skilled people, that really makes a nation wealthy. And that kind of leaves us with one big question to chew on. As we look ahead, which part of this blueprint do you think is going to matter most? Is it going to be about building more, spending more, or will absolutely everything ride on that next big, game-changing innovation? Definitely something to think about.